I don't know about you guys, but for me, it was that sense of that scene from Dumb and Dumber of just when I thought you couldn't do anything any dumber, you went and totally redeemed yourself.
Man, it means everything. Very emotional. Haven't really processed it yet, but just put in a lot of work, man, and was just focused on right here, right now, the present, and being patient with everything, man. You know, you're going to go through ups and downs, but just continue to put your best foot forward. We did that today, so just very emotional, I would say.
This is the Buffalo Plus Podcast, brought to you by Connors and Ferris.
All right, welcome back to the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel, presented by Connors and Ferris. Mike Catalana, Dan Fates. I am Jenna Cottrell. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. All right, gentlemen, a 30-27.
Never a doubt.
Big win over the divisional rivals of the Miami Dolphins, complete with a franchise record-setting 61-yard game-winning kick for none other than Tyler Bass.
Who didn't see that coming, right? I mean, Bass did make a long kick at the end of the half, which I thought, okay, the offense had bogged down. They got a couple of bad call penalties, and they needed that kick, and he made it. And that was as close to like a pressure kick as he's really had
in quite some time.
And he makes it. So that was great. And then he misses an extra point. Huge. Then he knocks one off the upright. Big. And then it went through, though. And then it comes at the end. And honestly, I don't know what you guys were thinking. I'm thinking, are they really going to kick this 61 yards? I mean, I think they almost had to, but there's risk there.
Yeah.
You're giving the other team the ball, maybe with a chance at a quick play. And instead, they trot him right out there. And Dan, you're on the field for it. It's good from 70.
Yeah, I didn't see how far. Again, when you're filming it, you're just kind of focused on the kicker and the reaction. You kind of go off of what other players are doing to know if it's good or not. And instantly, Quentin Morris is jumping up and down. Bass said he knew when he made contact that it felt good. But he was one of the ones to make sure it went through before he celebrated. I don't know about you guys, but for me, it was that sense of that scene from Dumb and Dumber of just when I thought you couldn't do anything any dumber, you went and totally redeemed yourself. That was one of those moments. Jen, I know you kind of talk about it. It's sports.
It's sports.
Like, that was just such a cool moment for a guy that has struggled mightily this season, struggled in the game, to hit a kick like that, special.
Redemption for Tyler Bass, and he talked about what that moment meant to him post-game.
Man, it means everything. Very emotional. Haven't really processed it yet, but just put in a lot of work, man, and was just focused on right here, right now, the present, and being patient with everything, man. You know, you're going to go through ups and downs, but just continue to put your best foot forward. We did that today, so just very emotional, I would say.
So proud of him. So happy for him. Got emotional in my little post-game speech out there. Just the trials and tribulations that he's been throughout this year. Obviously missing one early in the day, hitting the pole on another. You know, he could easily put it in the tank, and 61-yard field goal to win a game against a division rival. It's what stories are made of, and I love him. I respect him so much. Everybody in that locker room is so happy for him, and he's our guy.
Here's a young man that has been going through it, and the journey that he's been on week to week, you know, the questions that have been asked of him, of me, but really, you know, just in terms of him having to field, it's natural. It's the business we're in. I think it's a great example of mental toughness. I think it's a great example of perseverance, resilience, and for young kids out there, right, who here's a player that was under the microscope pretty darn hard. And, you know, we brought a player in here to compete with him and mid-season, and he didn't back down. And I think that says a lot about who he is. And, you know, this journey will continue, but it also speaks to our locker room of even today's game. You know, we missed the extra point, I think it was, and then he was going to have to make a kick later, and he made it.
That was really cool to see. It's funny, when he went out there, I'm like, I feel like he's going to make it. I felt like he would have, just because I don't know. He's fought back a lot. And he talked about how his process, he had to trust it when the Bills brought in that kicker before earlier on. He was like, I just had to hone in on my basics. I had to rediscover my love of the game.
That stood out to me.
I agree.
Is the fact of he was asked about the process and what's going through your head, and he's like, I love this game. That's what he told himself before he went out there for the kick. He also said that where did you feel comfortable? He said he felt pretty good from 58 in warm-ups, but he said knowing where they were and getting to fourth down, he goes, I was already walking on the field when McDermott and Smiley turned. He goes, I was already on the field. I wanted the kick.
That's what Reed Ferguson said. He wasn't sure, so he looks over for the coach, and he goes, Tyler's 10 yards past me. He's already on the field. The other thing Reed talked about was, okay, we are standing, the tunnel is there. I can point, the tunnel is there. He was kicking in that direction, the scoreboard side, and Reed said normally the winds are very different. It was a unique wind when it coming out of sort of out of the side, and he said we took advantage of it. We had that wind in the fourth quarter. Normally it would be going the other way. So there was a sense of confidence. But we can say all we want that players had confidence in the guy. You're talking about 61 yards to win the game.
And Josh Allen postgame, we don't often see Josh emotional like that.
Yeah.
And in the postgame with CBS Sports, he looked like he was holding back tears talking about what it meant to believe in Tyler Bass and to see that come to fruition in a moment like this. So that was really cool to see. And Dan, what do you think this just does for his confidence?
It's massive. I mean,
I thought you were going to be like,
So
what
did I.
doesn't matter?
well, there's no getting around that. But I think through this season and at the end of last year, I think Bass has a different perspective. He talked about the love for the game and refining that. And then he also kind of said, reminding himself, this is what you dreamed of. If you're a kicker, that's what you live for in those moments. But I think he has that newfound, he won the kicking battle his rookie year, and that's been it. Mm-hmm. He kind of said, yeah, I want to take this confidence and run with it, but he also knows you're only as good as your next kick. I think that...
He said that, yeah.
You've had this moment of reflection. You've kind of, at times, you haven't bottomed out. You haven't hit rock bottom because you're still on the team, but they brought in other guys. That you were challenged. The team stood by you. The front office stood by you. The coaching staff stood by you. It's a special moment when you can come through in the clutch when those people have put their neck out for you. Sean McDermott was asked, do you feel vindicated now the fact that you stood by him? You cut the other kicker this week. And Sean kind of laughed and he was like, I understand the question. He goes, he made the kick.
Yeah.
And he kept coming back to that. He made the kick.
But he made the kick for Sean. He made the kick for Brandon. He made the kick for the defense. It's so crazy to be a kicker. It is the highest of highs and the lowest of lows when that's it. That's all you're asked to do. You're not asked to cover kickoffs or anything like that. That is your job.
You know what's funny is I think there was almost a sense of, I won't say less pressure, but we are talking about 61 yards. You've even mentioned to me being down the field, he's booming the ball. His leg, the distance, has never really been a factor. So that kick was far enough. You just cut loose. If he misses it on the plus side,
there was only 10 seconds.
The game likely goes to overtime.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's not win or lose. But that was massive. I mean, because it ends a game where, well, we can talk about it, but they were struggling to stop the Dolphins. But it ends the game right there. And the offense itself was not great there at the end, and an old buddy helped him out.
Yeah, let's talk about it, how they ended up in this situation. And also just you talk about them driving down the field, what things turn into. And then, Dan, Jordan Poyer with the penalty on Keon Coleman. And what did you see?
I can't believe Keon got up. That was my first takeaway from that. They talk about every play is a car accident. That sounded in everything as vicious, and as I watched my clip back and in slow motion, it was such a dumb play by Jordan Poyer.
Yeah.
Reckless, stupid, violent, dangerous. It was
Left
all
his
of those
feet,
things. That would have been a penalty in 1980. That was so out of bounds. Left his feet, defenseless receiver, helmet to helmet.
Yeah, Dan's going to put your clip in the comments. You can put your tweet in there. So if you have a tough time finding it, find it. He gives you a real sense. You watch it on the TV replay, it's bad. But your clip is really impactful to see it. And he runs right through him. It is a dumb play.
It's a dumb penalty.
And that gave them new life.
Yeah. Here's Poyer after the game thinking he didn't really do anything wrong.
I'll leave it at that. I'm just playing football. I mean, just playing football, I thought it was a clean play. I felt like I put my helmet right into his chest. Just playing football. I feel like, just playing football is tough.
That's also Jordan Poyer's second personal foul, helmet-to-helmet hit. He had one in Miami that kept a drive alive against Khalil Shakir. So, again, you can break it up. He could have even maybe wanted to pick the pass off. It seemed like he had all kinds of time and just decided to put his helmet into the chin of Keon Coleman, who reporters saw walking out with some type of wrap on his left hand, I believe it was. Violent hit. It was amazing that he got up in that case. But again, that play cost the Dolphins the game.
In fairness, I will say this for Poyer. He probably has not seen the replay, and it is fast, everything you do.
Yeah.
But it is clearly a penalty, and it is clearly he will be fined by the league. I don't think there's any question.
I would imagine heavily
on the play.
But leaving the feet, the helmet to helmet.
That is every single thing that the NFL is trying to eliminate.
Was it you that said that would have been a penalty a decade ago?
Again, you could have called it for a defenseless receiver. You could have called it for helmet to helmet. You could have, there were so many reasons for a flag. And there were ticky-tack calls in this game. And I didn't see all of them being on the field, but it just felt like that was a no-brainer call in an absolute spot where if Taylor Rapp or DeMar Hamlin does that, Bills fans are going, what are you thinking in that moment?
Yeah. Well, let's talk about some of the penalties, some of the offense. Obviously, right before the half, the Bills with the ball, you thought okay, here they can score. Dolphins getting the ball out of the half, and then the back-to-back holding penalties. Now, Tyler Bass able to make the field goal, but Mike, at that point, what were you thinking about what was happening with the Bills?
They made a few plays. Josh with a great run, and it gets called back. I thought ticky-tack is almost being nice. I was surprised both of those were called holding penalties, but they did, unfortunately. Also on that drive, you had drops. I mean, Shakir drops. He never drops the ball.
Yeah.
And Kincaid couldn't hold one. And James Cook right in his hand. So they contributed. But Josh did run in the end zone. They called it back for a very marginal, I'll be nice, holding call. But they looked really sloppy then. But they survived it. They got the field goal. Then the Dolphins start driving to begin the second half, and Taron Johnson jumps in. That was a massive play in the game.
You can't overstate how much he means to this team. And Dan, to have a moment like that where the Dolphins, I mean, we're going to talk about the Bills' run defense and how much it struggled throughout the day.
Yeah.
But for Taron to go out there, make the play, Kyer jump on the ball, and to have that turnover, it really did feel like a momentum swing coming out of the half.
Yeah, it kind of felt like deflated. You had the Keon ball that was intercepted when you're driving. It's picked off by Jalen Ramsey. You're driving again. You think you scored a touchdown, and you go back to 3rd and 30 and having to have Tyler Bass make a long field goal. And then you're coming at half knowing you need to get a stop. And the Bills just struggled to get stops today. So to have that play, to knock the ball out, Taron said that him being that side of defender, knowing he doesn't see him, able to punch the ball out, Kyer able to recover in a spot for that, that was a big momentum swing. The Bills marched right down the field and scored.
It was rare when they stopped the Dolphins today.
Especially on first down.
Yes. They averaged, for a while, I didn't see the final average, but it was over 6 yards of play.
It just felt like every single second down was 2nd and 3, 2nd and 2. They never got behind the chains. They never got to be able to kind of be the one that was enforcing their will. They got pushed around at the line of scrimmage. It wasn't a great defensive showing. And Terrell Bernard, I thought, played well. He's nowhere near 100% and gutted out that game. So maybe you can say that's a little bit of a reason, not an excuse, but this has been one of the positions in parts of the Bills defense that I've been concerned about. It was bad today.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say it now. I'm going to give myself credit to me. I said this was going to be a closer game.
You did.
And I thought the Dolphins would, if they played smart. And
they did.
Actually, aside from the Poyer play, they played offensively. I thought they had a great plan. Tua was 25 of 28. He was smart with the ball, and they put him in good spots because they ran the ball very effectively. And you were sitting there thinking, if we give them the ball back here, they can go down the field and win the game at the end. So I think the Bills were also fortunate that they scored with as much time as there was left
100%.
in the game because they might have gone for 2.
Yes.
At the end.
That's fair.
Credit to Sean McDermott using a smart timeout. to
Yeah.
conserve as much time as you can. He called the timeout right after the 2-minute warning when the Dolphins ran the ball and the Bills had a surprising stop for only like a 2-yard gain. I thought that was a smart heads-up play by McDermott.
Yeah, because the more time that's left on the clock, the greater the chance are the team's not going to go for 2.
Correct.
Because if they're leaving a minute and change to go and you go for 2 and don't get it, even
Yeah.
if you
The
do
risk
get it,
to reward
you're
is-
thinking
Yeah.
about the field goal on the other
Yeah.
end. So anyhow, it didn't happen that way, but I mean, realistically, I thought that was, for what they are right now, that was about as well as Miami can play.
Yeah.
I thought if you're Miami right now, you're saying we had a perfect game plan. We executed it. We stuck to it. They played a pretty flawless game. Just came up short.
They just, I can't imagine for them. They're like, they haven't won in Buffalo now, again, since 2016. And today it looked like the Bills, and Sean McDermott said they did not have their A game.
Nope.
Obviously, they were able to come back in moments, but
But that's damn good.
But
But
absolutely.
that's what stands out to me. Baseball analogy for you. I like to do these, right?
Yeah.
They say a starting pitcher, you get 30 starts regularly in a season. They say 10 starts, you absolutely have your A stuff. You're unhittable. 10 starts, you just don't have it. You get lit up. But those 10 starts in between that you kind of have it, but you don't, you're trying to find it throughout the game, that is what makes a Cy Young award-winning pitcher. That's what makes an all-star pitcher. And for you to be able to not play your best, to get gouged on the run game, to lose the line of scrimmage battle, I would argue, on the defensive line,
Yep.
and still find a way to come out at the end, that says a lot about Terrence talked about the resiliency. We've talked about them coming from behind again. They've trailed at halftime.
5 times.
5 games.
Finding
They've
a
won 3
way,
of those.
finding a way to win is impressive.
Yep.
And this team has done that. And you know what it's been too? It's been different guys in different moments stepping up. And even today, obviously the Tyler Bass game-winning 61-yard field goal, but Matt Collins had a touchdown.
Yeah.
Quentin Morris had a touchdown. Ray Davis had a really nice day too.
I almost feel sorry for Quentin Morris because he makes the play. But
The
I mean,
fan. I thought of you, the
Yes,
fan.
instantly thought of, hey, the fan got a pass.
I don't know if everybody knows what that is. I
Yeah,
thought
you
it was
should
kind of
probably
funny. You were
explain it.
telling me the story. coming
Real
up.
quick, over the weekend, Khalil Shakir had a dog, a thing for
Adopt
adopted,
dogs, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
to adopt dogs.
Yes.
A aggregator on social media, Josh had FaceTimed with Quentin Morris's mom when Quentin wanted to adopt a dog. The aggregator of this took a video that somebody else posted and said Josh Allen was convincing a fan's mom that he could adopt this dog.
Well,
That-
Quentin's a fan of the team.
that
He's
fan
also
was
a player.
It wasn't a fan; it was his teammate.
Yeah.
So the fan caught a touchdown.
That
Yeah.
was great.
What a moment for him.
But how about Josh's play on that?
Absurd.
Yeah. Well,
Just
part
hitting
of
all
me
the
was
buttons.
just like, oh,
Oh
and
no!
then of
And
course.
it's very Josh
Yeah.
Allen for the touchdown.
But I mean, he had credit to Quentin Morris. He caught the ball. Matt
Yep.
Collins again with that touchdown.
He
And
also had another big third down catch.
Yeah.
He did. But at the same time, how about the play, Ray Davis?
my
I
dad
mean-
loves Ray Davis. He'll just text me.
Who doesn't
Davis.
love Ray Davis?
No, it's fair.
And I thought James Cook, was okay today, nothing big. And then you could tell Ray had a spark when he got into the game.
I was going to say, when he got in there was that physicality that we've talked
Yes.
about on
Yeah.
previous podcasts, that this running hard, getting bottled up, but then still getting 2 yards and falling forward. I thought that was huge. And to Matt Collins, I know we're trying to stay focused on these podcasts. We're trying to be more oriented. We've seen the comments. We've heard we bounce around a lot. That's what we do.
Oh, I
But-
haven't seen those.
Oh, but I was saying, what a play design by Joe Brady on the 4th down to
Yeah.
Matt Collins. That was
Yeah.
spun off of what they did on 4th down on the opening drive in Miami that went to James Cook, a fake to the running back out of the backfield, another fake, and then to hit Matt Collins in the back of the end zone. I tweeted, that was sexy by Joe Brady. Like, that was
Can you say that on?
That was
oh,
hot.
It's
Just
YouTube.
did.
It's YouTube. It's fine.
that was hot.
That was hot.
Settle down over there.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Well, McDermott did talk post game just about how he was having what it means to have different guys step up and how important that is. And talk about resiliency and what that means, and also how galvanizing of a moment this team had with the Tyler Bass field goal. But I mean, now Mike, they're 7-2,
Yeah.
which I think back to when the Bills had lost back-to-back games, and it's like the sky is falling and all this stuff, and to now sit where this Bills team is at and think of 7-2 with a commanding lead in the division.
Yeah.
It's impressive from this team.
Go back to the 2-game losing streak. What have we talked about? How good they are after
Mike's
their
tweet.
yearly 2-game losing streaks. 4-0 now
Yeah.
again. Is it? Yeah, 4-0 now.
Yep.
Yes, they've
At
won 4
7-2,
straight.
and I think they're a total of 27-2. It's
pretty
over
good.
the last 4 years.
Pretty good, Bob.
After they've lost 2 in a row, like they just
yeah.
now, I don't think they're going to run the table, but you never know with this team. They've got, tough games coming up,
Yeah.
and we'll see what ends up happening. But they are resilient. And look, the reason I thought this game would be a little tougher is because Miami was desperate, and they do have talent, and they are
They do.
obviously a good offense
Yeah.
when Tua is the quarterback. I don't know if they are the highest of high level because I don't know if he plays at that level. But when he's not on the field, they're atrocious. They can barely go up and down the field at all. They don't score. They don't do anything in the passing game. So his return last week put him in that spot. And for the Bills to find a way against a desperate division team like this, they're 2-0 against them. They've beaten the Jets already. Obviously they put themselves in a great spot.
But when you said on the 2-game losing streak, I go back to what Joe Brady said during a Zoom call after that Houston game. And everybody's calling for Josh is coming off his 9 for 30 game and what's going on with this offense and nobody's open. It was Brady that was the one that was like, we believe in this team. We believe in this wide receiver room. We believe in this team, and the sky is not falling. We've lost 2 games in a row, and he's like, I don't want to lose any games, but we're going to be fine. There is, I always feel like we end up defending the coaching staff here, but they deserve a tip of the cap for how they've steadied this ship and have been able to get the resolve and the results that they need out of this team.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, again, 7-2 speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Like that is not an accident of what this team and where they're at.
We didn't mention, obviously, Amari Cooper not playing in the
Correct.
game.
Yeah,
And
Christian
Benford not playing. It's always big when he's not out there. Kair got beat on one double move.
Yeah.
But I thought he played physically. I thought
Yep.
he played tough.
Yep.
And he made a big play. It ended up being knee was down
Yeah.
against Odell.
Yeah.
But I like the way Kair plays. He's tough. And he's a very competent third corner
Yep.
to be
Yeah.
in there. We'll see what ends up happening, but I thought that was good.
I was pleasantly surprised. Again, Tyreek Hill beating him on the double move. And
Yeah.
he was very close.
Yeah.
So I was like, you saw his hands up in the air, but
Good defense, better throw, better catch.
yeah. And
Tua
that's how
throw-
the
I'm
NFL
sorry.
is built.
Yeah.
Tua threw the ball really well.
He
when
did.
he had windows, he
His
threw it
one
well.
over the linebacker in front of the safety to Hill driving down the field,
Yeah.
I was like, damn,
Yeah.
that's a big league throw.
Well,
Yeah.
you made the point. They didn't make him uncomfortable because they always had
Yeah.
second or third and short. They rarely were
Yep.
back, and they were rarely behind the chains
Never.
in this game.
Yeah.
What do the Bills do with run defense? Because they have been struggling with that, and obviously that was on display.
I need more out of Daquan Jones. I just haven't. He doesn't look like himself before the pec injury last year. And you know who provided a little bit of a boost was Eli Anku.
Yeah.
And guess
He
what?
made some plays, yeah.
Big, beefy body. That's what when people ask me, what could the Bills do at the trade deadline? Get bigger inside.
Yeah.
And he's a big, stocky guy that takes up
He's
space.
sturdy.
I was going to say sturdy, but that was a weird thing to say. But the fact of the matter is that he made some plays just eating double teams. It's what Jordan Phillips did and Tim Settle, like bigger guys, 300-plus pounds that are tougher to push around. Daquan's not that anymore, and we know what Ed is. So they were kind of getting pushed around there.
And beyond the front line, they're small.
Yeah.
I mean, they
Yeah,
are.
no, it's true.
And Taryn is tough as nails, and they have some good tacklers back there, but they are a smaller group. So if you get past the line, the run game can, if you go light and you play for the wide receivers that they have, they can. And this is where the Dolphins were smart in this game. Other teams know it too.
Correct.
But if you can score on offense and put them in a bad spot, you
Yeah.
can stop that.
But we've seen this. This is why the Bills have had success at times, and the whole NFL has had success. Defenses have made adjustments to the faster offenses.
Yeah.
They've gotten smaller and quicker to handle that speed, and now the pendulum swings back the other way. The Bills have, Josh talked about it, like this is the cyclical motion of the NFL. Now teams can kind of run the ball and impose their will on bigger offensive linemen against smaller defensive linemen and smaller linebackers. We're seeing it.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's just that is interesting of what they need to do. What?
I've got something I had a realization during the game.
Well, go ahead.
What's that?
I'm ready to pay Greg Rousseau.
Really? What? You
Yeah.
called him like Gabe Davis like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I'm ready to pay him. I think he's the last few weeks after he had the great start, the 3 sacks in the first game, kind of disappeared, but he was still making impacts without getting sacks. He had the 6 pressures in the one game. I think that was the Titans. I continue to see the flashes. I continue to sit there and say, I don't know if I'd want this guy to walk away or let this guy walk away, unlike Gabe. This was a guy that I still think that even when he's not putting up massive numbers, he set the edge a couple times. A lot of times they set the edge, and then the cutback was there.
Yeah.
And Ed and Greg are kind of looking there like, I forced them back inside. Where's the help?
Yeah.
And that's what Sean was livid on the sidelines a couple times because at times they were going back and forth and zigzagging through this defense.
Yeah.
So I was impressed by Rousseau today. We're a team that wanted to be physical in the run game. He had the sack, and I thought he had a couple of nice plays run stopping wise.
But it is a concern. Pass rush in total. Vaughn was not noticeable
Yeah.
at all.
yeah, I don't want to.
And I know he hasn't played in
Yep.
4 weeks, but when there was times I said to you in the press box, I'm like, this is a Vaughn moment here.
Yep.
Because it was
Yeah.
third down, you need to
And
make
then
a
he
play.
jumps off sides.
Yeah.
Yes, and he
That's-
did that to
yeah.
them. And then Smoot left the game.
Yep,
So
wrist.
we'll find out.
Wrist
But
injury.
you know,
He went
these
right to
are-
the locker room,
Yep.
too.
These
he
are
looked like
all-
he was in a lot
yeah.
of pain.
So trade deadline or whatever, you can, it's like you can always use corners, you can always use pass rushers.
Yep.
I would not be surprised if they're looking around
Something
to
on the
see
D-line.
somebody that can give them some snaps in the pass rush.
A little bit of a boost, especially with that DeJuan Smoot and what
Yep.
else they're going to get. And, yeah, we'll see. All right, 7-2. Indy up next.
St. Elmo's is up next.
Yes, we'll be there for dinner.
Okay, speaking of you guys going out, we are going out. We are doing Buffalo Plus Live
You can come with us.
Yeah.
at Wayland Brewing
In Orchard
in
Park.
Orchard Park. Be sure to. How,
Yeah,
how do people go? Do they have to ticket?
No, you can go.
Live
and there's-
pod.
we will put. In fact, I put a post on the YouTube channel. If you check out the post, we'll put the same thing on the screen here, and you
It's-
can go or you can watch it. We're going to do the live pod, so you can watch but come out.
We should
We
tell them
ta-
the date.
Oh yeah, I guess that would be good. It is Wednesday, the 13th.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm just
We
making
got
sure.
there.
It'll be on this graphic.
Yes. Well, I know it's a Wednesday because we're going to be at practice. We'll be coming from practice in Orchard Park here. It's right around the corner.
We just
from
double
where
check
we are.
that. 'cause-
Yes, it's Wednesday
Yes,
the 13th.
yes.
All right.
At 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock, but you come early. We'll be there.
Live show, live
and,
pod.
Yes.
we might have some little goodies to give away, and we'll talk. We'll answer questions. We'll
Yeah.
take your questions as part of the podcast. So, yeah, we're gonna we've done this before in Rochester. Now we're gonna do it.
Yeah,
Very
in
excited.
taking it
Orchard
on the
Park.
road.
Look
I'm
at that.
excited. Also, a reminder, if you don't want to watch YouTube, we have the Buffalo Plus podcast. It's the audio-only version of our podcast, available wherever you listen to your podcast, called Buffalo Plus, so be sure to check that out. Anything else before we wrap up?
Two things. Great snap, great hold. That gets lost. Long snappers are football
Yeah.
players too.
Yep.
Shout out Reed Ferguson. Also, flyovers are awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They are
they
awesome.
had a cool one.
That plane was huge.
Yeah.
Massive and very low to this. Very low.
Oh, where
Very
the-
low.
oh my God, I was about to point.
Do
but
it.
where the press box is, where the planes come down, and you're like, they're coming right at us.
Yeah.
Do you know what I heard? Because they played a clip of them talking on the radios. So they're flying. You know what they said?
Credit.
Cranes.
Credit to me.
I mean, no, they
Credit
saw
to
the
me.
cranes flying over. They were like, cranes are cool
Yeah.
as they're flying over
Dan
the
loves
stadium.
cranes.
He does.
You can see the stadium in the back of the shot, though.
Yeah,
well,
look at
That was
right
where the
around
field goal
corner.
was hit.
yeah.
Right over
The
there.
Right
field
over
goal
there.
right back there.
See?
Right over there. Okay, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. We always appreciate it. And I know I say we always
Yeah,
appreciate it, but we
we do.
really genuinely do. There'll be an Indy this weekend. We'll have plenty more content. You Ask, We Answer coming up on Tuesday. We'll also talk trade deadline. Our regular podcast will be in Orchard Park. You get the picture, blah, blah, blah. So again, subscribe. We appreciate it. We love it. We thank you for it. For Mike Catalana and Dan Fates, I am Jenna Cottrell. We'll catch you next time here on the Buffalo Plus channel presented by Connors and Ferris. Woo!